It just shows our hardworking employee. Okay. Oh, we're on. Welcome to the September 12th meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, and we are in the year 2019. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm Barb Lewis, President. To my left is our Vice President, Jeff Benton. To our right, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill, and our Deputy Administrator, Don Houston, and we have our Clerk, Sarah Walraven. We can begin.
Sarah DeNovo.
Sarah Walraven. That's a new, correction, it is. She is still Sarah DeNovo.
Yes.
And we have Jen Walraven sitting on the side, fortunately watching our every move. Okay, we can begin.
Resolution number 19-900, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held September 9th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-900. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public comment this morning. Resolution number 19-901, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants and batch numbers CMA PR 0911 and memo transfers and batch numbers MTA 0911.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-901. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-902, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion -19-902. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-903, in the matter of approving a transfer of appropriation for economic development.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Bob Lamb, Economic Development Director. This is a request to move funds from one line item to another line item within the budget. It is not an increase to the budget. We are also submitting to MODE, the Mid-Ohio Development Exchange, for reimbursement of the expenses related to educational training for staff. Thank you.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motions 19-903. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution
Thank
number
you.
19-904, in the matter of supporting the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials designated corridors for development of state and U.S. bike routes.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Jenna Gehring, Economic Development Coordinator. ODOT has been working with a consultant to create a mapping system for on-road bike routes. The Delaware County Trail Committee has reviewed that those bike routes are on the same Delaware County-wide trail plan, and we recommend your approval of this resolution.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-904. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna.
Resolution number 19-905, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer subdividers agreement for Hyatt's Crossing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Julie McGill, Staff Engineer at the Regional Sewer District. This resolution is for Hyatt's Crossing that includes 100 condo units by Pulte Homes located at the corner of Hyatt's Road and Sawmill Parkway, and this will connect into the new Liberty Sawmill trunk sewer.
Okay, questions? Vote.
Vote on motion 19-905. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-906, in the matter of accepting sanitary sewer improvements for the Pines Section 1, Phase A.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This resolution is for the Pines Section 1 Phase A that includes 54 single-family homes off of Lackey Old State Road by MI Homes, and the development has had their sewers installed and a new pump station, and all of them have met all the requirements of the sewer district.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-906. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you, Julie.
Resolution number 19-907, in the matter of approving a permit for the use of Delaware County facilities.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This, Sarah DeNovo here on behalf of Jane Haas. This is a permit to allow Judge Havanowski to conduct his annual ghost tour of the jail.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a very fun event, and I hope people can take advantage of it. And this is just one of the stops on the ghost tour. It's very neat.
Yeah, it is. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-907. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-908, in the matter of approving a permit use for the Delaware County facilities.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Sarah DeNovo again. This is for the,
Sarah Walden.
or Sarah Walden.
Yeah.
This is for the use of the juvenile court to do their traffic court corrections, essentially, for the car team program at the Willis Building.
All right. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-908. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We are going to skip to item number 12 on page 940, or 749.
Okay.
Resolution number 19-909, in the matter of approving the 2020 health renewal with the Delaware County Employee Benefits Consortium of Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So last week, on Friday, Jeff and I attended the renewal meeting with SEBCO and received our actual rates, and those came in much better than we had anticipated. Our increase is at 0.3%, which is very, very good, and much less than the 3 to 4% that we were anticipating. And I think SEBCO has done such a great job for us over the years in providing a stable marketplace for not only Delaware County, but all the counties that are involved in the consortium. There's 36 counties currently. Delaware County was one of those that was right there at the beginning, which is great. We've been able to be with them for 15 years. And there's a few other counties that are actually looking to come on to the consortium, which would be great. Anyway, these rates are the actual rates, the total cost for each of our 4-tier plans. And I'm recommending your approval of those. We will be establishing the actual employee rates in a separate resolution within a few weeks.
Okay.
Any questions? I'd be happy
Any
to answer.
comments?
You might talk about the wellness program. And
The wellness program ended up very strong. We had a total of 641 people, employees plus spouses, complete the program. And we will be breaking those down in terms of the number of employees, employees plus spouses, and then those on the family plans as to how things ended up. But it looks like we were at a 43% completion rate altogether, and I think we were the best county under SEBCO in terms of the actual increase in participants from last year to this. So our efforts have definitely paid off. I think that makes a huge difference in our renewal.
That's right. That's just, yeah.
Because employees are getting ahead of their health issues and concerns, especially through those biometric screenings. They're being better consumers of their health care, and that makes a huge difference in our renewal.
Yes.
And they've presented a
studies,
table.
yeah.
They did a study that shows that the counties that had the higher wellness participation had much lower renewals increases than those who didn't have, or had low participation. And so kind of confirms that the wellness programs do really, save dollars and,
Yes.
help with health care for the employees.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Dawn. I've spent a great deal of time on this, and others I know have too, but you've been the leader, and that's,
It's worth it.
oh,
definitely.
gosh, yeah, this is,
Really believe in this program.
yes, yeah, it's phenomenal. We saved so much by going with SEBCO to begin with because of their group power.
Sure have, yeah. We sure have,
They are extremely well capitalized, so
yeah.
I'm going to push for a capital plan and strategy at SEBCO.
Oh, well, yeah, you're on the board now.
Yeah.
Okay,
and, Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of capital sitting there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That could be put to better use.
Okay. All right. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-909. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-910, in the matter of adopting a resolution declaring a necessity in the intent of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners to appropriate property.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote.
Vote on motion 19-910. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
If you'd like, we can move on to administrative reports.
Sure. Yeah.
The only thing I will mention is we had a retreat yesterday for directors and assistant directors. It's a great event, lots of good discussion, and Mike
Great.
will, I'm sure, be coming back to all of you with some additional information from that. But we did essentially a SWOT analysis of the county overall, and some team building activities, and it was a great event. I think
Oh,
everybody
super.
really enjoyed it.
Oh, gosh. I know Mike Fromer and Marissa worked very hard on
They
this.
had, yes, a lot to do with
Yes.
the success of the day.
Planning it, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Boy, thank you. Yes, I look forward to that report. All right, anything else?
That's all.
I believe Commissioner Merrill
So my turn?
is first.
He went first last time.
Yeah, he went first.
I know my granddaughter.
I didn't really first, I thought that was his record.
Yeah,
Yeah. We'll go back and check the video.
yeah.
Well, I'll make mine quick. I'll make my best effort to cover some of the stuff you're going to bring up.
Yeah, you always do.
Commissioner Benton and I attended the DKM meeting Tuesday, and it was about what we would expect as far as the meeting. I wouldn't think anything out of the ordinary really came up, but how we handle solid waste in these 4 counties that we're part of is important to all of us.
I thought what was interesting about it is the awareness of the changing environment for recycling. You know, with China not buying much anymore of our recycled product, prices have plummeted, and companies that are in this business are losing money. So what's the future of recycling in the U.S.? A lot of states,
What's that model look like?
right, a lot of states and cities are really wrestling with it. You know, it's become a money-losing operation to recycle. So what happens, you know, going forward with recycling? It'll be interesting to see. There are a lot of different ideas and a lot of different things being discussed.
So should it be subsidized, or does it go back into the landfills, or those are questions that ultimately will have to be asked not only by our 4 counties, but really throughout the country,
Right.
unless something changes in the marketplace over the next year or two. So, I know Commissioner Benton would mention this. I enjoy taking this away from him. Fair starts this weekend,
It does.
and I think we're all looking forward to that. And there's a number of people here that have and will be out there quite a bit during the next week. And we obviously are going to start our session later next Monday.
That's right, that's
At
right.
10 o'clock. And I always enjoy the fair, and it's a really neat event and for our county, and it's going to be getting better over the years as the bed tax really starts to show up in the facilities out there. So I think we all should be very proud of that. Morpsey meets this afternoon. I plan on attending that. We had a land bank meeting yesterday as well, and I've cut your list down quite a bit there, Commissioner Benton.
You did.
And we talked about a number of issues, and there'll be more on that as time passes. I think it'd be appropriate, as I know we mentioned Jenna today, do you?
Oh, I have that,
Oh, you have
yes,
that?
yes.
That's all I'm gonna say
Yeah,
then.
yeah, we'll make sure
Okay.
we get that.
Very good, I'll just leave
Yeah.
it right there. And with
Okay.
that, I'll pass the baton.
Okay.
Yeah, the land bank continues to make real progress. It's really encouraging. You know, the Sarah Sunnyby nursing home in particular is one property in Delaware City that really has been sitting empty for years,
Yes.
and it needs attention. Well, we took a big step to start the foreclosure process on that.
Good,
And that will get it back into, hopefully, not too distant future, back into private hands.
Gosh, that would be
It's a
great.
valuable property, valuable
It's-
location, but it's got a lot of issues
Right.
that need to be addressed. And the
Huge
land bank
brick
is pushing
structure.
through those, so.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's
that's great.
an example of,
We don't know the outcome.
Don't know the outcome.
But at least conversations are taking.
Good.
and progress. Land bank, DKMM, yeah, you pretty much covered, the investment committee meeting.
Well, I don't attend
This
that.
morning.
Yes, that's right. Oh, here we go.
Commissioner Lewis and I
Yeah,
attended that.
yeah.
Interesting environment for interest rates and the economy and so on. We're in what's called an inverted yield curve, where longer rates are lower than short rates, and that's unusual. Sometimes it means a recession, sometimes it doesn't. But Treasurer Peterson has taken advantage of that and invested most of the funds that he has to invest in the Star Ohio, which is the best rate around. So funds are being invested wisely and earning the best return available. And again, things are in good shape there. And let's see, on the fair, we've got, of course, the Jug is next Thursday. That's always Delaware's day in the sun, and 40 or 50,000 people will be here.
Gee,
So
yes.
that's always a great day. And that is it.
One quick thing, we were not in session yesterday, September 11th, and I know we were all thinking of the terrible tragedy that happened, and so grateful and honoring those first responders who served and lost their lives, and it is a tragedy that we can't forget. And so therefore, there were several ceremonies going on, both state and national and local. So just a reminder, all is September 11th, 18 years.
And may I add something?
Sure.
The thing that I think says most about the American spirit are those people in the plane over Pennsylvania
That's right, too. We can't
and
forget.
the lives they saved
Yes.
by their heroic actions.
Right, yes. Right, the Pentagon was hit as well as the World Trade Centers, and then the lives that were saved by the brave people in that plane in Pennsylvania. I would like at this time to call Bob Lamb to the dais and have him just present. We're losing a valued employee, so I'll let you begin.
Yes, it's one of those sad, happy things. Let you all know that Jenna will be leaving. Her last day is tomorrow. She has taken the Economic Development Manager position at Whitehall, so a great opportunity for her, able to work in a different community than ours. It's a municipality, so learning about how municipalities are funded and working on projects from more of an income tax standpoint than a sales tax, and able to do, I'm sure will be some amazing, great redevelopment projects in that community. You want to
Yes.
come up here?
Yes, Jenna.
I have to come up, you have to.
All right. Yeah, I'll just say, it has been a wonderful 6 years here at Delaware County. It's been a pleasure to serve alongside the wonderful coworkers I have and this wonderful community we have. So thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you, Jenna. I mean, you've done a great job, and this was a period, too, when you started in the first few years, there was a lot of turmoil. You took over you took over the Economic Development Department and did a fine job. So I do think it's a great opportunity. There's a lot going on in Whitehall and that surrounding area. So I have no doubt that you will bring your expertise to very good use there, but we will miss you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll miss everyone too. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments?
I just wanted to say thanks as well. You've been part of a lot of accomplishments around here in the economic development and seen it grow and seen a lot of things done in the business retention world. I know you've been leading that effort. The trails, which is actually a very
Yes.
important part of the community that we try to create that attracts businesses and residents. So I did have a chance to talk to Mayor Maggard from Whitehall last Thursday at the MORPS Executive Committee.
Okay.
And
Great.
I accused her of stealing one of our good ones.
Yeah.
She acknowledged she did. So anyway, she was very excited to have you come, and we're obviously sorry to see you go, but I want to thank you for all that you've done. And Whitehall will be very different. It's a rebounding community.
Yep.
They're getting a lot of good things going. They've got a lot of good programs. The Heartland Bank moved their headquarters. I mean, there's a lot of good things happening in Whitehall, so there's good momentum there. And it will be very different,
Yes.
working for
Yeah.
a city instead of a county, but I'm sure you'll take the principles you learned here and use them there wisely, so good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Commissioner
No, I've known you the longest as having the commissioner during, actually when you joined us. And it's been a pleasure working with you. You've taken a great deal of pressure off of me by leaving, I'll be honest with you. Trying to remember your married name versus your maiden name. I won't have to worry about that now. And so I appreciate that. But hey, all kidding aside, you've been a pleasure to work with, and
Yes.
your role at Warpsy, I'm sure, is going to be a little different, but I assume you're going to be actively involved in that, and I'll be looking from a distance about your successes, and
Yes.
I'll be looking to see your name in the paper and all the great things that are going on in Whitehall.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, stay in touch
I
now.
will. I will.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you very much. And we are still about 10 minutes away.
From our hearing, so we
So
can
we-
either start some of this, or we can take a recess.
I think.
recess for 10
Yes, I think we'll just recess until 10.
We'll recess, all right, starting at 10, or be
Okay.
back at 10.
All right, thank you.
We'll reconvene our session. Resolution number 19-911, public hearing for consideration of the Lynetta Lane subdivision drainage improvement petition. Can I have a first?
So moved.
Thanks.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-911. Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Resolution number 19-912, in the matter of approving for a specific occurrence a suspension of Rule 3, speaker registration, Rule 4, limitations, Rule 7, public comment procedure from the rules governing public comment before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-912. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to the September 12th, 2019 hearing for the Lynetta Lane subdivision drainage improvement petition. First of all, there's a sign-in sheet that's circulating, if everybody could sign that. And I'll just go over what's going to happen today. First, we're going to hear a report from the county engineer and soil and water conservation district. And if we have any questions, then we will ask them. And then we're going to hear from all those in favor of the petition. And then we're going to hear from those opposed to the petition. And during the testimony, I'm going to ask you to take an oath right before you testify, and then you will just give your name and address. And we will continue to hear people, first, like I say, the people pro petition, then the others against the petition. And we may ask some questions during that time. And we'll get all the new information. And then we will also probably, like I say, we will ask questions. After listening to the testimony then and the report of the engineer, the board will decide whether to grant the prayer of petition or to dismiss the petition. The board considers the following, we consider the following in our decision. Whether we find that the proposed improvement is necessary, that it will be conducive to the public welfare, and or we could find that it is reasonably certain that the cost of the proposed improvement will be less than the benefit, And if the board grants the prayer of petition, the Delaware County engineer will proceed with the preparation of plans, reports, and individual schedules of assessments for the project. When the plans are complete, then a final hearing will be set. Notification of the hearing will be given to landowners, and the board will consider the project again. That's the next step. So I will turn it over to Brett Bacon from Soil and Water.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. By law, I'm required to read the first hearing report into the record, so I will do so, and
Okay.
I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board has. First hearing report, Lynetta Lane subdivision drainage petition per ORC 6131, September 12th, 2019. This report has been prepared for the preliminary hearing on a drainage improvement petition filed by Lisa Kluczorski and Mary Kay Rohrkamper and others on April 12, 2019. The petition was signed by representatives of 19 of the 22 parcels in the subdivision. The petition was amended based on requests filed by Nancy Peebles on July 8, 2019, and again by Stephen Jones on July 22, 2019. The Commissioners accepted these requests on July 22, 2019 and July 29, 2019, respectively. The general location and course of the requested improvements are quoted from the petition as follows. In Delaware County, Genoa Township, within the Lynetta Lane subdivision, and generally following but not limited to the course and termini of the existing improvements. The following is the nature of the work petitioned as quoted from the petition. To generally improve the drainage, both surface and subsurface, to a good and sufficient outlet by replacing, repairing, or altering the existing improvements as required and or creating new surface and subsurface drainage mains or laterals as requested by this petition. Petition process. The petition has been submitted according to Section 6131 of the Ohio Revised Code, or ORC, which authorizes the Board of Commissioners to act on behalf of benefited property owners to make drainage improvements. If the Board of Commissioners decides to proceed with a project, the costs related to the improvements and the development of plans, reports, and schedules are assessed to the landowners in the watershed according to the benefit received to their watershed acreage. These special assessments will be added to the property taxes for each property and can be spread over a maximum of a 15-year period. Property owners may also choose to pay their assessment in a lump sum payment prior to placement on their property taxes. Additionally, the improvements will be placed on the Delaware County Drainage Maintenance Program in perpetuity per ORC Section 6137, and the annual maintenance assessment will appear on property tax statements as a special assessment in the same manner as the construction assessments. These annual maintenance assessments are generally in the range of 2 to 3% of the construction assessment. It should be noted that property owners are only assessed for those improvements that are located downstream from their properties. No property is assessed for improvements located upstream. The public agencies that own rights-of-way for public roads and other public lands are also assessed for both construction and maintenance costs in the same manner as private property owners. The decision to approve a petition project is a three-step process. First, a viewing of the proposed improvement is conducted by the Commissioners to familiarize themselves with the watershed and general conditions. The Commissioners conducted the viewing for this project on July 8, 2019. Next, a preliminary hearing is held to consider the initial feasibility of the proposal. It is this preliminary first hearing that is before us today. If this petition is approved, a final hearing will be conducted to further consider this petition. At that time, final details such as engineering plans and specifications, cost estimates, and a proposed schedule of assessments will be known. Existing conditions. The Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District and Delaware County Engineers Office have made the following observations of the watershed using on-site evaluation and a review of available historic records, aerial photography, topographic mapping, and soils mapping. The watershed area evaluated includes upland areas within the vicinity of Lynetta Lane right-of-way and the downstream areas encompassing private property and developed land serving as the outlet for the petition. Construction of homes within the Lynetta Lane subdivision began in 1980, with additional homes constructed through 2014 when the last remaining lot in the subdivision was developed. There was no comprehensive stormwater system designed or constructed as part of the development of this subdivision. Both private and township right-of-way drainage does not appear to be functioning at or near optimum capacity due to a lack of comprehensive maintenance and the generally deteriorated condition of the infrastructure of the upland areas and downstream outlet. There is a lack of uniform grading that has led to significant ponding in many areas. This problem is worsened by road ditch enclosures installed without a comprehensive stormwater management plan for the entire subdivision. The subsurface drain system also appears to have significant blockages, limiting its effectiveness. These conditions are indicators of an overburdened, aged, and unplanned drainage infrastructure. While the existing drainage system still provides some degree of drainage benefit, it does not appear to function as a good and sufficient outlet. Estimate of cost, factors favorable, unfavorable, benefit versus cost. ORC 6131 requires the county engineer to state in a report factors favorable and unfavorable to a proposed project, estimate the cost of the project, and state an opinion as to whether the benefits of the project exceed the cost. The following information is presented for your consideration. Construction estimate. The project would involve making improvements to both the surface and subsurface drainage. Items of work would include the removal of existing ditch enclosures, the excavation of road ditch setbacks, the installation of private drive culverts, surface drain outlet shaping and grading, log jam, debris, and vegetation removal, the relocation of existing utilities, subsurface drain installation, grade stabilization, and seeding and mulching of disturbed areas. Construction, $194,340. Drainage maintenance, ORC 6137, first year startup, $3,692. Project administration, survey, and engineering, $12,500. Total estimate, $210,532. Notes. It is important to understand that the above estimates are preliminary and made in the absence of a current detailed topographic survey of the project area and engineering designs. The above estimate contains items of work that would be direct assessed to Genoa Township for work that would occur within the road right-of-way for Lynetta Lane. This amount is estimated to be $110,562.50. This would leave a total amount to be assessed to the watershed landowners of $99,969.50. Based upon ORC 4115.03, prevailing wage rates may apply to this project and will be determined if the board finds for the project and orders the engineer to proceed with survey design, final estimated cost of construction, and associated schedule of assessments. Should the project fail to be approved at the final hearing, the benefiting landowners, as defined by ORC 6131, may still be responsible for the cost of project administration, survey, and engineering design. Assessments. If the project moves forward to the second hearing, the Ohio Revised Code instructs the county engineer to calculate the assessments to individual property owners based on the benefits received from the improvements for the various properties in the watershed. ORC 6131 states that, quote, uplands that have been removed from their natural state by deforestation, cultivation, artificial drainage, urban development, or other man-made causes shall be considered as benefited by an improvement required to dispose of the accelerated flow of water from the uplands. Benefits are further defined by the ORC as, quote, elimination or reduction of damage from flood, removal of water conditions that jeopardize public health, safety, or welfare, and increased value of land resulting from the improvement. Individual parcel assessments are not calculated for the preliminary hearing and are only calculated if the petition moves forward to a second or final hearing. Factors favorable, unfavorable. Factors favorable to the improvement. Improved surface and subsurface drainage in the watershed, improved outlet for subsurface drainage components of household sewage treatment systems and for residential drainage systems, reduction of future deterioration of surface and subsurface drainage infrastructure, annual inspections and maintenance of the improvement in perpetuity. Factors unfavorable to the improvement: temporary land use during disruption during construction, cost of construction and maintenance may be a burden to some landowners, removal of existing trees and brush in the improvement area. Benefits versus cost. Assessments for property within the watershed are calculated based on the benefits derived. For residential properties, the lack of an adequate drainage outlet can negatively impact the condition of household sewage treatment systems, potentially limiting the value of the home for resale. Should the existing system fail, the cost to perform repairs or construct an alternate sewage treatment system can range from the thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. It would also be reasonable to consider the cost of environmental degradation due to residential sewage treatment systems that may not be functioning properly. For roadway drainage, the lack of an adequate outlet can lead to standing water on the roadway surface, resulting in traffic safety hazards and increased routine maintenance of the roadway surface. Other benefits that are commonly perceived as a result of drainage improvements focus on quality of life and positive neighborhood perception. Communities that have planned and maintained stormwater drainage infrastructures generally have higher resale values than those communities that are known to have a history of drainage problems or flooding. Conclusions. Based on all of the information gathered and generated for this project, I believe this project is technically feasible and would adequately serve the project area's drainage needs. However, the testimony brought to the board by the landowners as to whether the benefits of this project exceed the costs should be given significant consideration in the decision to move forward with this project. Should the current petition be approved to proceed to a final hearing, the petition bond will be returned and detailed plans, specifications, estimated costs, and a schedule of assessments would be prepared. Additionally, a benefit versus cost analysis will also be performed to further determine the feasibility of advancing this proposed project.
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay. I will now call for those in favor of the petition to give testimony. Anyone in favor of the petition, just come to the dais and I will swear you in.
I'll start.
All right. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Lisa Kletcherowski. I live at 7816 Lynetta Lane. And we purchased our house about 6.5 years ago on Lynetta Lane, and a little more than a year past that time, while I was mowing, I discovered there were 2 large sinkholes on the side of our driveway, that the side yard that's closest to that ditch.
Could you do us one more favor, Lisa? I just need to know, I think your property is 11?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Go
Sure.
ahead.
So there were very large sinkholes, and part of that, I mowed around it all year, and part of that was, it was relatively dangerous. I had to be careful. They were large enough, probably 4 feet by 3 feet in size, and depth was probably at least 2 to 3 feet. So I became concerned, and in that time, I hired an excavator to come out and to look at what was causing that. So as he performed the work, he dug that area up, and what he found was there was some broken field tile in there, and he said, so part of that was, to get to that point, he had to drain those 2 large sinkholes that were in the property. And so he put a pump down in there, and he ran a hose into the drainage ditch, and he found that the hole kept filling up with water. So what he did was he put some dye in there, and what he found was that water was recirculating, so it was never getting down that drainage ditch. It was just recirculating back to the property. So there were things that were obstructing the water from actually getting down that ditch. So what he did was he said what he could do as a temporary solution, which would be to repair the drain tile, fill in the holes so I could mow on it and I wouldn't fall in and wouldn't be dangerous. So we did that, we completed the work, but what he told me was that this is really a temporary solution, and unless you fix that drainage issue, unless that water has somewhere to go, this will become an issue again, and or you'll get other sinkholes on your property. The work that he performed cost us $3,000 at that time, and what we found since that time, I will tell you, there are 3 or 4 additional small sinkholes that are starting to form on our property. I assume it's from additional drain field tiles that are broken, that are going to need repair. Additionally, the previous homeowner shared with us that there were at least 2 times during the course of them owning the property that that homeowner actually cleaned the ditch out. And so, obviously that wasn't a permanent solution. He tried sort of to take that on himself, and it didn't really work out. Additionally, fast forward to this year, we of course had record amounts of rain, as we know, in Central Ohio. We came home one weekend, found that our basement was flooded, so we hired Roto-Rooter to come and do some investigative work. They did what they had to. We also then had to hire an excavator to come and to make some repairs for us, both of which, and this information was shared with you as well, but both of those documents were, the Roto-Rooter and the excavator indicated that, that part of this is caused by the insufficient outlet of the water and the overgrown nature of that ditch. So along our driveway, additionally, there's 10 trees that line our driveway, that 6 of them have since died, and we'll have to remove those, so there'll be additional expense for us to remove those. The other 4 remaining trees are deteriorating very quickly, so it's just a matter of time before we'll have to take care of those as well. All of this is being caused by standing water that just never leaves our property and sits along those trees and keeps them submerged. Mosquitoes, of course, have been a lot worse this year than others. So we really have a lot of concerns about this. And I really believe that the insufficient outlet for the drainage on our road is, it's impacting not just us, but it's impacting a lot of people on up the street that can share their stories as well, and some of whom have shared those stories. I think that the scope of our issue on this property and the scope of what it's going to take to fix it goes far beyond a bunch of homeowners getting together to hire an excavator to clean out a ditch. A solution that's going to solve the issue and also ensure that it doesn't impact any others by whatever solutions put in place is going to require the expertise that the county and the township have to offer. So I thank you for allowing me to speak and share a little bit of our story, and thanks a lot.
Sure. Thank you. Are there questions yet? Oh, okay. Sir, if you could come to the dais. We're on video.
Craig Zander, 7641
Are
Ladder.
you going to give any
I just have a
testimony?
question on the...
Okay, let me ask, are you giving any testimony, though, pro or con? Okay, go ahead.
I think we all have various issues with the drainage.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And we're glad to see...
Go ahead and just give me your name and address then, please.
Craig Zander, 7641 Lynetta.
Okay.
With the estimate that's been provided, before I can decide if I'm for or against it, I'd like to understand some details of what that includes and what the final product would look like.
Okay.
Realize that it's not there aren't
Sure.
plans or specs yet, but it does seem like there's a
Sure.
concept been developed.
Okay, we'll have Brett explain that.
The first hearing estimate, we have to prepare that using some assumptions. Obviously, we have no detailed survey of the area. We have no authority to do extensive work or no authorization by the board to do extensive work in preparing that. So just as a general sense, I would anticipate proposing looking at the road ditch enclosures and probably examining those, more than likely removing them so that it's open drainage, resetting drive culverts so that they're working together as a system as a whole, and doing improvements to the surface drain outlet and installing new tile to the properties that have requested it by the petition. To speak as to specifically what a plan would look like at this point, I can't answer that. We're not at that point of the process.
Okay, you gave a construction estimate in your testimony. What I was struck by, which is unusual here, is that the township actually, your construction estimate was around $211,000.
Right.
But yet you're saying that Genoa Township
That's correct.
would be paying for about half.
And that would be the improvements to the road right-of-way. You can see on the map I'll say the unshaded help I'm colorblind or partially colorblind, so I can't see the red dot usually. But the unshaded portion is the road right-of-way there. Genoa Township is 100% responsible for improvements to their road right-of-way. Much of the work that would need to be done to require, or to address the intent of this petition would occur within the road right-of-way, therefore would be the responsibility of the township.
Okay. So from his preliminary estimate, you're talking about 100,000 total that the residents would be responsible for paying?
Yeah, I'm not,
Just that, again, we're on audio and
I'm not
video.
debating the cost at this point. I would just like to understand, the way I read this and the way I think I understand it is the concept is that we would all have open ditches then in our front yard instead of what we currently have, or most of us currently have.
That's what the current estimate is built based on.
Okay.
Whether that would be what the final plan would look like, that's not a question I can answer at this point. I can only answer it if we move to that survey and design phase and actually get into crunching the numbers and doing the survey.
Okay.
Brett, I had a question for you. Does the Tussock Street impact this? The fact that the Tussock Street is north-south, and, I mean, is that a factor in?
It may be. We would examine that as part of survey and engineering.
Okay.
That's Genoa. Tussock, I believe, is, I think that's a township road. I'm pretty sure.
In our walkthrough on early July, we witnessed that the drainage from Tussock from the high point at Medallion to close to Mount Royal drains to Glenetta area, low point, and then runs on the tree line to the north side of the subdivision along Medallion. And that ditch line has been compromised over the years, and the water finds its way across several of the north properties there. So I would like to understand if that estimate includes some remediation up there as well.
It does not. Again, these are all things that would be looked at as part of engineering. The first hearing is about generalities. The second hearing is about specifics.
Okay. All right, thank you.
But
Is
the
there-
goal, I'm sorry, but the goal is to get a good result.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To meet the request of the petition.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of the petition? And I will swear you in, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lyle Wiley. I live at 7626 Lynetta Lane, which on the map is number 6.
Number 6, thank you.
We moved in about 7 or 8 years ago. One of the first things we did since it was available to us was we hired Genoa Township. They came in and dug the open ditch in front of our house at a cost to us and enclosed it for us with a 12-inch tile. I've since learned that a 12-inch tile was not nearly large enough in size to handle I'm also a developer, land developer, and my understanding is that that'll handle about 3 acres of water. And so the tile was way undersized. Again, we had a cost to enclose that because we didn't like the open ditch. And I guess I would be disheartened to hear that the result was to have open ditch down the street again. And I know a lot of the homeowners on this street spent quite a bit of money to have these ditches by Genoa Township enclosed. Secondly, last year I spent $1,200 having Roto-Rooter come out. They said that my conductor lines were probably blocked, so they went down through them and checked them. Weren't sure if they found a problem or not. Couldn't determine that they had specifically found a crushed line or roots in the line or anything of that nature. This year I spent $600 having another company come out and do a water blast through all my conductor lines, because what is happening is when we get a substantial rain, the line is backing up and the water's coming out at the bottom of my downspouts, and it's coming up against my foundation. My mulch is eroding, is running away, and I'm getting holes in my yard up against the foundation where the water's gurgling up and out, and it's substantial. This year, I also purchased a camera myself, a 200-foot camera. I put it down through all my conductor lines, and they're not blocked. My problem is not on my property. My problem is out at the street where the line cannot handle the water. Any questions
Okay.
for me?
Any questions? Guess not. Thank you.
Also, just for clarification, so my understanding is that 21 of the 22 homeowners have signed the petition in favor of it? Thank you for the clarification.
I do have a question for,
For Brett?
I think, well, I pointed, I apologize, I should have given it. You're fine.
Okay.
The last witness who was supporting it, but did have a concern about open versus non-open. Is your responsibility to find the cheapest, efficient way to do it, or if the neighbors as a group wanted it closed and they're willing to pay the premium, how does that work? Is that, that's not
Typically,
a
we-
question I've heard in the past.
Sure. Typically, we look for the best least cost alternative.
But if the neighbors wanted whatever that premium is, and I don't think we're going to determine that day, is that something that would be considered in the final product?
We would consider it, but it would have to be something that would meet the engineering standards.
Okay.
Thank you.
So would that involve replacing the existing tiles that have been put in place? Bigger?
I think no matter what, the existing tiles would need some replacement or at least examination.
Okay.
Okay. Engineer's office, Brett?
Brett Berger for Delaware County Engineers Office. Just to take off from what Brett Bacon had mentioned, we can propose alternates in regards to an open ditch system or an enclosed ditch system. But as you said, your drainage gets to the right-of-way, the tile just can't handle it. I know in this kind of a situation, we're looking at a possible evaluation to make sure we're not creating a flooding issue also. So an open ditch system does a much better job of what's called attenuating the flow. That means the water goes out, and it flows out a little bit slower than just putting it into a pipe and getting it to an outlet. That would be something that we would need to evaluate if this project is approved to ensure that, downstream conditions, the outlet is sufficiently designed for the upstream drainage. So I just wanted to clarify that we can look at alternatives.
That's part of the
Okay,
evaluation.
good. That's,
But
Could be.
at this point, this is a drainage improvement project, that's what the petition was for. And so, drainage, flooding, take kind of jurisdiction over aesthetics of an enclosed tile system. But we will evaluate both solutions and come
Okay.
back to you if you all approve it today.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else wish to speak in favor? I'll swear you in, sir. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Rose Chavez. My address is 7680 Lynetta Lane. I believe it's number 17 on there.
16?
Okay, 16.
Okay. Thank you.
We built back in '92. At that time, we didn't seem to have a problem with flooding in my basement or anything of that sort. As things moved on and been there for several years, starting back in 2002. It's the first time we had our basement flooded. Our basement is finished, so the carpet had to be taken up. 2 feet above the floor, the drywall had to be removed and insulation replaced and everything. Again, in 2003, had flooding. 2004 had flooding. 2005 had flooding. 2006 had flooding. 2008 had flooding. 2010, 12, 15, 16, and 17, we did not give any claims to our insurance company with the flooding and everything in our basement, because back in 2008, they said if we had one more claim, they were going to drop us. And we can't be without insurance. And it's just ridiculous that, when we have a hard rain, our basement gets flooded. And we paid quite a bit of money to repair back in 10, 12, 15, 16, and 17 because the insurance did not cover it. So there is a problem, and my concern is how long is this going to go on? Now, one of the things that we did, this year is one of the years that we didn't get flooded. That's because we have 3 sump pumps working. But the problem is, it's still going out there, and you can see the well just slowly rising because the water's not going anywhere, and it's just a matter, is it going to overflow? But the thing is, with the 3 pumps going, it didn't go into the basement. So, we had to pay extra money, to get the additional sump pumps there in order to get the water moving out from the basement area. So what we want to do is just make sure that, there's proper drainage so the sump pumps can work properly to get the water away from the basement area and stuff like that. Now, one of the concerns that was brought up about water from Tussock, one of the owners who has since moved out, and I can't remember the date, but it was late at night and it was raining. Over there by Lot 7, just below that, a little bit lower, right in that area, there was water coming from the other side of Tussock, draining in that direction. So water is coming from the other side of Tussock when it's a really bad rain. And again, I just want to make sure that we're covered and it doesn't happen again. Now, is there going to be a time to bring up new issues and stuff?
New issues?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you can, if there's, yes.
Well, one of the things that I think when we had the meeting at Genoa was the issue of a fire hydrant. We don't have a fire hydrant that's working on that street. And if they're going to be tearing things up, I was just wondering, who we need to contact in order to get a new fire hydrant put in at the same time, because we did have a fire at one of the houses several years ago, and apparently had to get a pumper, to put the fire out. So.
Sure. I would definitely work with, that's a good question, because, yeah, I would work with either Paul Wise, he's the county administrator. I think Paul Wise is,
Township.
I'm sorry, yeah, yeah. Or Chief Honeycutt is the head of fire EMS in Genoa, but I think I'd start with Paul Wise.
Paul Wise?
I'm going to make a generalization. I don't think they're going to do any work that's going to put that area in jeopardy during the work. I think they would take that into consideration. So I would not expect that to be an issue. And I'm getting a nod in the back of the room there, so.
Yeah. Scott Stevens, Administrator at the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. Yeah, we can certainly bring that, or if we get to the point where
Okay.
we're doing survey design work, and if there's some other movement by the township to better fire protection, if there's somewhere
Sure.
we could, I mean, it wouldn't be something that we could address as part of this process.
Right, but-
during construction, to try to coordinate that,
Good,
it would make
good,
sense if
right.
Genoa would move in that direction.
Okay, thank you. Brett?
Just want to add that this project's obviously a little unique when you compare it to some of the other projects the board has had before it. If the board directs us to proceed beyond this first hearing, I think one of the first things that I and my staff will do is to try and meet with every single one of the landowners within this subdivision to hear their concerns and to try to make our attempt at designing the best project possible. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much. Anybody else wish to speak in favor of the petition?
I'm Nancy Peebles. I'm at 7636 Lynetta Lane on property number 17.
Okay, and I will swear you in. Nancy, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
I moved in, I built the home in 2000, and at that time, I had absolutely no problems at all. But I'm coming to this meeting today with some visuals. These were taken on September in 2018, and I did submit them to somebody, to the county or
You
whoever.
can just bring them, yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to bring them up?
Bring
or-
them, sure, just give them to,
Well, I wanted to explain.
oh, that's fine. When you're ready, you can give them
Okay,
to us
yeah.
then.
This particular one I took from the second story of my home looking west toward Tussock. And this is the early part of the rain. It's starting to back up already. This picture, this picture right here is looking toward the east and toward the end of my driveway. This one is looking west, and this is the early part of the storm. And the storm went on for, I don't know, an hour or so. This is shortly after the storm ended. Again, this is looking toward Tussock, so that would be looking west. And this is, again, my driveway, and it's totally covered with water. It's a river. It's just flowing. And again, this is looking out my window. This is looking east at the end of my driveway. So this would be toward the cul-de-sac. And you see that it's a total river, in both of these pictures. I happen to have a police car coming down, creating a wake. So again, this is, which way is this one? Well, this again is looking east. So these pictures all show what we have experienced, not once, but a couple of times. This is at the cul-de-sac that Lisa has spoken about. And of course, these were all taken on the same day. And so I wanted to bring that as evidence of the problem that we're experiencing.
Now, that was this year?
That was September of last year. But again, we've had a couple of rainstorms since then that have created the same problems.
Okay, yes, if you could just give them to our clerk. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the project or the petition? And I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony, if you'd raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm Craig Bueller. I live at 7719 Lynetta Lane, and that is number 20 on that list.
Okay.
So I'm kind of the new guy to the neighborhood. It's been about a year since I've lived there. When I first moved in, I noticed two sump pumps. We have two sump pumps there working constantly 24/7, never stopping. Also, there is poured concrete walls in the basement, so meant not to crack compared to other types of foundations, and water coming in routinely. And then just through seeing all the neighborhoods, so I'll sell, as a real estate agent, I'll sell about 150 homes per year just in that area. And I'd never seen anything like that, especially with such a young home. So basically I had my construction company come out and check it. They said that the water was definitely not coming from the property. So then I had a drainage specialist come out and check it. They did a camera through all the pipes, and there was no clogs, there was no issues with any of that, and they said it's 100% water coming from not my property, so definitely elsewhere. So just through that, I think it's very obvious that the water is definitely coming from elsewhere. And as for kind of how we want to move forward with a plan, I definitely think that's something that needs to happen with all the different construction companies that people have had. I've had two myself, and they're all saying the exact same thing. So I think that kind of makes it obvious with all the different perspectives that are given to us. As for a plan going forward, that's obviously not my decision, but I think the fact that the flooding is an issue is very obvious. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak for the petition? Okay, is there, oh, yes, Mr. Zander? I will swear you in now. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And your property again is?
7641, which is 19.
Okay, thank you.
I guess one request I would have in this process is that it seems like we all have consensus that part of the issue is the outlet is obstructed or not sufficient. While the county and the township go through engineering and studies, I would ask that you consider a temporary solution that could be possibly implemented this fall in trying to clean out the outlet, just minimal cost, just to help anything that would happen over this fall and next spring before a permanent solution would be implemented.
Do you want to address that possibility, Scott? Thank you.
Scott Stevens again, the Soil and Water Conservation District. I think as part of the petition process, it will be difficult to actually have any construction, but certainly the township or an individual resident or maybe a group of residents, if they felt that there was something out there that could be done, we could try to facilitate that. But as far as the 6131, this petition process would just not lend itself to some interim, I don't know, emergency measure, if you will. So, but we could certainly discuss that or try to facilitate that discussion with the township and the residents. If there's something they believe that could be done in the short term, that would be.
Scott, I think the question, obviously the testimony so far has shown this is a significant issue. I think their concern is this one is in December, which is not really the quote rainy season.
Right.
So I think the concern is something could happen. So I understand that position and I don't disagree with it. But I guess the ultimate answer is,
well,
can this be expedited, is the whole process to get this done sooner rather than later, if in fact it's approved?
Our council has any, do you want to weigh in there?
I just wanted to back up what Scott was saying, in that if there were an issue within the right-of-way, and this is a township road,
Yes.
then certainly the township can go out and do work within the right-of-way. Any part of the improvement that is on private property, however, the county can only go through this process to conduct that work. We have no right to do that before this process is concluded. If the question was, can we expedite the process, that's just a matter of how quickly, if you were to find in favor of the petition today, you proceed to have the engineer develop plans and specifications and estimated assessments. It's just a matter of how quickly that can be done. That's the deciding factor, because the county cannot go out and do work on private property until the process is concluded at the final hearing.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on. Yes, go ahead, Lisa.
Do I need to be?
Just announce, no, I don't have to swear you in, just announce your name again.
Lisa Klecharowski. To that point, clearly this is private property that the drainage ditch is on, and question would be, all right, if the county doesn't have the right to enter private property without going through this process, I'm certain the township will say the same thing. Is there some sort of legal document or a process that whoever does own that property, I'm one of them, but could put in place to permit the county or the township to do some temporary work to prevent further issue or damage to all of the homeowners on the road?
Yeah, oh, thank you.
The issue is whether the county has statutory authority to actually perform the improvement. Certainly, you could have an easement granted by private property owners for you to do work, but can you actually do the improvement? That's the bigger question. So it would depend on what the work was. If it were, at this point in time, it's not established as a public improvement. If you were to go out and do work on a private improvement, you don't have authority to do that, even if somebody gives you the easement to do it.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. This process establishes whatever drainage improvement comes out of it as a public improvement, and then it goes on maintenance. It does become the county's responsibility to construct that and maintain it. So even if you were to get an easement at this point in time, if it's not today a public improvement, you don't have authority to conduct that work.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Eric. Thank you. Eric is our counsel.
I just want to add, to do anything before we have had the opportunity to do survey, if the board would direct us to move to that point, I think would not be responsible on our part, certainly, because I don't think you want to do anything that might be counterproductive to what the ultimate solution would be. As far as expediting this petition, typically from the soil and water perspective, we work on the projects on a first-come, first-served basis. We currently have 17 projects and some various stage of development. Certainly the board can make the request of us in the engineer's office that we expedite a particular petition, but that would be at the expense of the petitions that are already in progress. And then, we work for you. We're certainly willing to do what you ask, but it would have consequences for existing projects.
Okay. Go ahead, Nancy. Just announce your name again, and that's it.
Nancy Peebles. I didn't bring it with me today, I'm sorry I didn't, but there is an ordinance. I went to an attorney, and there is an ordinance saying that the natural flow of water cannot be obstructed. And as we know, Tussock is elevated, and it goes down on Lynetta Lane, it slopes down toward the cul-de-sac. So, as I said, I do not know the number of that ordinance. I have that paperwork at home, unfortunately. But that was my understanding, that there is no way that a natural flow and drainage can be obstructed.
Okay, thank you. And you had something too.
I have a question.
Sure, just announce your name again,
Will
sir.
Chavez.
Okay.
On Lynetta Lane, where does your responsibility and our responsibility begin? At the edge of the street, or 5 feet from the street, or what?
Well, the county does not have responsibility on Lynetta Lane because it's a township road. It would be at the edge of the right-of-way, basically represented by the lines you see on the map. Where those actually lie on a property, it would take a surveyor to establish the exact location of that line. But it would be from right-of-way to right-of-way. It would be the township's responsibility.
Okay.
What is the right-of-way? We're here.
That's this part. The area between the shaded.
Okay. Now, where are the tiles?
We're assuming that the road ditch enclosures are within the right-of-way.
Okay.
We have to proceed with that general assumption at this stage.
Okay.
Survey would bear that out.
And where is the right-of-way again?
It would be the unshaded, the area
Unshaded
not in
portion.
blue. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a comment, the goal of this hearing today is to determine whether we should proceed to stage 2. We're kind of getting sidetracked, which is not serving a useful purpose for this hearing. So I think we need to kind of stay on target and talk about the issue of whether this is a project deserving of support, or these three commissioners approving it. So we're kind of getting off on tangents, for lack of a better word. Just an observation.
Okay, let me go to the next portion of our hearing then. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the petition? Yes. I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I'm Karen Kasich. I live at 7825 Lynetta Lane. I think it's number 11. I don't have my glasses on, but I think that's an 11. Oh, okay. Thank you for, no number.
Oh, 21.
Oh, boy, I can't see that at all. On top of my.
Oh, my gosh, okay, you're 8.
So I'm 8, all right.
Okay, okay.
And that house, as you've all walked out there, is down at the end of the lane, downstream from everyone. When we bought the property, I think we started building in 96. We realized we'd bought farmland that would probably flood, and we spent a lot of money with excavators and developers and dug a acre-wide, 17-foot deep pond and used the land to build the house up and did swales and all this to keep the water away from our house. And while we do have standing water that gets close to the house during storms, we have not had any water in our house, and we would like to keep it that way. So I'm not for any project that would send more water running downstream to 7825 Lynetta Lane without any plan for what to do with it. I don't think that my neighbors would want the county, and I don't want the county to solve one person's problem by creating a problem for someone else. So I think that we should be very mindful of that, and that's why I'm not really for the petition.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I have a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
It's an obvious question,
Sure.
I think, but a question I think we need to get. The goal is to move the water through the whole area, not to place it, in this case, property A, correct?
That's correct.
To get it,
That's correct.
Okay.
If we determine that work needs to be done downstream of Mrs. Kasich's property to create that good and sufficient outlet and minimize the impacts, then the petition process allows us to do that. So all things that would be examined as part of the engineering process.
Okay. Right, again, I mean, certainly, you know, you don't want a homeowner just, I mean, the water runs down Lynetta Lane and then we want to make it better.
Correct,
For
correct.
Number 8, lot
Yes.
number 8 too.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all,
And
all considerations that go into engineering
Okay.
that good and sufficient
Okay.
outlet,
Okay, all righty.
if the board approves us to do so.
Okay, sure. Brett?
Again, just Brett Berger for Delaware County Engineers Office. Again, just to clarify the point, if you would like us to pursue alternatives, as I had mentioned in my previous comments about an open ditch or an enclosed ditch system, as I had stated, an open ditch system would be evaluated to possibly attenuate some of these flows to address the downstream outlet that
Okay,
we were
so,
discussing.
so we should make that in our comments today?
You would like us to evaluate a couple different options, just let us know if you
Okay,
decide to
yes.
approve on this petition. and
Right.
we can pursue a couple
okay.
options.
I mean, I certainly would. It's good to have all the options.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments right now from the board? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
To close the hearing.
Close the hearing, I'm sorry, to close the hearing.
I would move to close the hearing.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Resolution number 19-913, in the matter of closing the public hearing for the consideration of the Lynetta Lane Drainage Improvement Petition. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Okay, we need a motion now whether to proceed or not with the petition.
I move we proceed with the petition.
Yeah, I would second that.
Discussion?
Resolution number 19-914, in the matter of granting the prayer petition and directing the Delaware County Engineer to proceed with preparation of plans, reports, and schedules for the Lynetta Lane subdivision drainage improvement petition.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I'll start out since I made the motion. It's obvious to me that there is considerable issues, and there's no question in my mind the cost-benefit ratio here that the benefits far exceed the cost. And I believe that Mr. Chavez, property number 16, talked about insurance, the fact that you no longer, really, I have used this statement many, many times. This is like insurance long-term. It will protect those properties for theoretically forever. And I think that is an excellent example of why this project needs to be done. Now, I also, whatever we need to direct, there should not be any effort on this project that would create a problem for another landowner, and I don't think that would have occurred, or that is the intent, and getting a sufficient outlet to the ultimate end of the, would be I'm going to guess would have occurred whether we had this conversation or not, but to the point we need to restate that and direct, let me know what we need to say or do, but that is an extremely important part of this project. It's not to be detrimental to the property owner who happens to be on the end of the watershed. But this one is much more obvious to me than many that we have looked at. There's really no question in my mind this project needs to be done. And that's my comments.
Yeah, I would echo Commissioner Merrill's comments. This one is an easy one. There is clearly a problem that needs to be addressed. And this is the process available to us. And our folks are very good at it. Both the engineer's office and Soil and Water are very good at it. And they really want to work out solutions and work with the owners. I would encourage us to look at alternatives. I mean, I understand the issue. You know, do you want an open ditch or do you want covered? And they're experts at it, but it'll take a little time to work through that. So I think this one definitely needs to go to phase 2, where they work out the final estimates and final plans and present alternatives. And listening to the comments today.
Right. I would agree, and I don't want any homeowner impacted negatively by this. I want everyone to benefit from it, and I also favor the use, the study of alternatives too. So you'll have that option. Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-914. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do have a need for executive this morning.
Yes.
Resolution number 19-915, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment dismissal of a public employee or public official for pending or imminent litigation for collective bargaining.
So moved.
Second. Oh, sorry. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-915. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. We're now recessed into executive session. Thank you.
Resolution number 19-916, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-916. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
We are now adjourned.